Welcome to another insightful episode of Luxo-Life, your partner in life. Did you know that there's this one strategy that will make your descendants wealthy? If you want yourself and your great-grandchildren to be wealthy too, this video is tailor-fit for you. Don't miss out until the end of this video and show us some love as we explore this strategy deeply. Without further ado, let's begin. So, the one strategy that can make your descendants wealthy is adopting a long-term, patient, and consistent approach to investing and building wealth. Sounds a bit complex? Let's simplify it by asking the question, how do we go about it? One approach to set the wheels in motion is by zeroing in on sustainable returns. It's all about resisting the temptation to go after those quick wins in the short term. Instead, let's shift our focus to the long game, where sustainable returns can really work their magic over an extended stretch. Picture this. In the investment realm, it's not about the sprint, it's more of a marathon. So resist that itch to jump on every fleeting opportunity that comes your way. Think of it like tending to a garden. You don't reap a bountiful harvest overnight. It takes time, care, and consistent effort. The same principle applies to wealth building. Sustainable returns may not give you a sudden surge, but they plant the seeds for robust long-term growth. Now, let's talk diversification. It's not just a fancy term, it's a game changer. Spread your investments across different baskets. Don't put all your eggs in one. This helps cushion the impact of any unforeseen market swings. Remember, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is a diversified investment portfolio. It's about patiently constructing a sturdy financial structure that can weather the storms and stand tall over time. Next up, let's chat about risk. Yes, it's a part of the game, but managing it wisely is where the real skill comes in. Avoid the temptation of the thrill-seeking, high-risk gambles. Instead, opt for a balanced approach. Dabble in a mix of low and moderate risk investments that align with your financial goals. It's like steering a ship. Keep it steady and you'll navigate the waters with finesse. Another thing is that we can dive into the sweet spot of achieving average returns consistently over the long haul. Sounds a bit like playing it safe, right? Well, bear with me. It's a bit more nuanced than that. Consider PIMCO's strategic mediocrity. No, it's not a flashy term they came up with to sound cool. It's about deliberately avoiding the race to be the top dog in any given year. Instead, it's about consistently being in the top decile over each decade. Think of it as the tortoise in the classic fable. Slow and steady wins the race. PIMCO chose the path of consistent, reliable returns over the roller coaster of trying to be the star performer every year. And then there's the Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett. His story is like the gold standard in the world of wealth building. The man didn't amass his fortune through flashy short-term gains. No, sir, it was all about the art of compounding over decades. He's the maestro of staying in the game for the long run, letting investments grow and multiply like rabbits over time. Buffett's approach is a testament to the fact that you don't need to hit grand slams every year. Consistent singles and doubles can win the game. Let's talk about longevity, not just in life but in investments. If you're eyeing generational wealth, it's not about the quick wins that fizzle out. It's about building a legacy, something that stands the test of time. That's where the magic of average returns comes into play. It might not be the flashiest strategy, but it's like compound interest's trusty sidekick, quietly working in the background, steadily building wealth over the years. Buckle up because we're digging into the heart of the matter, the compounding effect. It's not some fancy financial jargon. It's the magic that happens when your money starts making its own money. Think of compounding like a snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it's just a tiny ball, barely making a dent. But as it keeps rolling, it gathers more snow and momentum, growing into something formidable. The same principle applies to your money. You invest, it earns returns, and those returns, in turn, earn more returns. It's the financial snowball effect, and the longer it rolls, the bigger it gets. Know that the longer you let your investment simmer and compound, the more magic happens. It's not about a quick fix or instant gratification. It's the slow-cooked stew that gets richer and more flavorful with every passing year. Consider Warren Buffett, the grand master of compounding. His wealth didn't explode overnight. It took decades of letting those investments marinate and compound. It's the kind of wealth-building strategy that's more marathon than sprint. A steady, deliberate journey towards financial greatness. Compounding is like having a money-making machine that works tirelessly in the background. You put in your initial investment, and it goes to work, multiplying itself over time. It's the compounding effect that turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. It's the financial equivalent of planting a seed and watching it grow into a sturdy tree that bears fruit for generations. You know what they say, moderation is key in pretty much everything. Now, don't roll your eyes just yet. Finding equilibrium in your approach to wealth building can be a game changer. The philosophy here suggests that aiming for average returns doesn't mean settling for mediocrity. It's about steering clear of the extremes, those wild roller coaster rides that can leave you gripping the edges of your seat. Instead, it's a strategic dance in the middle, where you're not swinging for the fences every time but steadily making your way around the bases. Imagine you're aiming for the Goldilocks zone of wealth growth. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. The philosophy of moderation argues that this balanced approach, coupled with minimal effort, can be the secret sauce for substantial wealth growth over the long haul. It's like the tortoise in the race against the hare. Slow and steady might just win the financial marathon. Now, let's break it down a bit. It's not about being lackadaisical in your efforts. It's about working smarter, not necessarily harder. The goal is to avoid unnecessary risks while still reaping the rewards. It's finding that groove where you're making consistent strides without burning out. Think of it as a sustainable pace, like a marathon runner maintaining a rhythm rather than sprinting and gasping for breath. And here's the kicker. Over 50 years, this philosophy of moderation can catapult you into the upper echelons of investors, the coveted top 1%. It's not about flashy wins every year, but a steady climb that positions you as a financial sage rather than a thrill seeker. It's about longevity, my friend, a slow and steady ascent that leaves others wondering about your secret sauce. Now, let's talk about effort. Minimal effort doesn't mean laziness. It's about efficiency. It's about making calculated moves, not frantic ones. You're not juggling a million balls in the air hoping none of them drop. Instead, it's about strategic decision-making that doesn't leave you feeling like you're constantly chasing your tail. Now, let's zoom in on the importance of the long game, a perspective that's vital if you're aiming to make your great-grandchildren swim in wealth. Short-term thinking might give you quick wins, but when it comes to building a legacy, you've got to channel your inner Warren Buffett. Let's say you've got a pot of gold, and instead of splurging on the fanciest car or the latest gadgets, you decide to play the long game. Buffett's wisdom lies in holding on to money, not because he's a Scrooge, but because he understands the power of compounding. The beauty of it is that prioritizing compounding isn't just about growing your wealth for your own pleasure. It's a legacy move. Buffett isn't thinking about just himself. He's thinking about his family tree, you know? It's about creating a financial dynasty that withstands the test of time. Lastly, let's unravel the wisdom behind understanding constant human behaviors, a game changer in the unpredictable landscape of wealth building. Forget about crystal balls and predicting the future. It's time to embrace the power of human behavior and learn a thing or two from history. First off, let's address the elephant in the room. Predicting the future is like trying to catch a gust of wind with your bare hands. It's elusive, unpredictable, and most of the time, you're left with nothing but a breeze. Instead of embarking on this futile quest, the key is to understand that certain human behaviors remain constant. People tend to react to fear, greed, and risk in consistent ways throughout history. Now let's talk humility. In the face of economic unpredictability, acknowledging that we can't always forecast the next big thing is the first step to financial enlightenment. It's like admitting that sometimes life throws curveballs and we need to be ready to swing. This humility is not a sign of weakness, it's a demonstration of wisdom. We're not all-knowing financial wizards. We're navigating the turbulent waters of economic unpredictability with a compass and a bit of intuition. Learning from historical events is like having a cheat sheet for the future. It's not about dwelling in the past. It's about gleaning insights from the collective experiences of those who've sailed these financial seas before us. Take Warren Buffett, for instance. He's practically a history buff when it comes to financial events. His understanding of how people reacted during crisis, be it the Lehman Brothers collapse or the COVID pandemic, positions him as a sage in reading the signs. Now, let's dive into the library of human behavior, aka history. It's not about memorizing dates and events, it's about understanding the underlying patterns. The London Blitz during World War II, for example, isn't just a history lesson, it's a profound exploration of how people coped with adversity. Warren Buffett recommends books like The Splendid and the Vile and No Ordinary Time, not as a bedtime stories but as vivid narratives of the human experience during times of crisis. Humility isn't about surrendering to the chaos. It's about acknowledging that we can't control every twist and turn. Instead, it's about being a student of history, learning from the triumphs and tribulations of those who walk this financial tightrope before us. The goal is not to predict the future, but to be well prepared, armed with the knowledge that human behaviors persist and history often rhymes. And there you have it. If you found today's video to be a well of wisdom, do us a favor and give it a thumbs up. We're eager to hear your thoughts, so drop your comments below. And don't forget to share this knowledge treasure with others. And hey, if you're stepping to the Luxo-Life community for the first time, consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell to stay in the loop with our future insights. See you in the next one.